Hey everyone, Alan Wellman here again for another installment of Developing Your Clairs. Today we're going to be talking about clairsentience and what that means as a psychic and medium. Clairsentience means to feel, to get clear, again, clair meaning clear indication of how our communicator or our sitter is experiencing things. It may be a physical sensation. It may be a physical feeling. It may just be, we have often heard of the gut feeling, right? Well, that's clairsentience. So, for instance, if a sitter comes and their spirit communicator has died from a heart attack, I may physically feel. Again, this is not an actual physical, but it's done through the mind. But I may have a knowing or a sensation of pressure on the chest. If I have a feeling of shortness of breath, that may indicate that the spirit communicator had difficulty breathing at some point. If there is a feeling of pressure on my head, perhaps that person had a stroke or an aneurysm or something to do with the brain. So what we are doing is we are using these physical sensations to make sense of the communicator. So for instance, one way that we use in the psychic manner of feeling is that sense of yes or no, a gut feeling of this is right, this isn't right. Now, one way that I was taught to use my intuitive gut reaction or gut intuition here is what I call a compass. And in my solar plexus, the area just below the rib cage, right in the tummy area, what I recognize is that that's where I feel things of I should do this, I shouldn't do this, go left, don't go right, so on and so forth. And the way that I have sensitized myself to trusting that is I have a little scale. One side is yes, one side is no. So for instance, if I were to make a choice about should I meet someone for dinner next Saturday, and if I go to my intuition and make that feeling, if it feels good, I notice it's one way. And if it's no, I notice it feels like there's a pull in the other direction. So the way I ask students to kind of experience it is by listening to the words that I use and feeling their body's reaction. For instance, if I were to say, my name is Alan Wellman, notice in your body, especially in the solar plexus area, just below the rib cage, notice in your body, where does that feel and how does it feel? It feels pretty good. If I were to say my name is Alan Wellman, you might feel an ease or relaxation. If I were to say my name is Joan Crawford, right away, there might be a feeling of hesitation or a tenseness in this area. Something that indicates something's not right. If I were to say, I'm wearing a sport coat, that should feel pretty good. If I were to say, I'm wearing a red flower on my lapel, that should feel pretty good. If I were to say, I'm wearing a bright red shirt, again, there's a feeling of that's not right. And so what I encourage students to think about is how they can use that little compass of yes, no, right, not right feeling. So try that over the next couple of days. Just notice when someone talks to you, how does it make you feel in your body? When you have to make a choice about a person or a place or maybe a situation in your life, go into a light meditative state. And when I say light meditative state, it literally is breathing a few times to slow down the mind and then pose the question, should I take this job? and just begin to feel, is there tension or is there freedom of the mind or the body? And that should help you make your decisions. Another sensation that you might notice on using clairsentience is picking up on energy in a room. There are many times where I have walked into a room and I just feel the energy in the room and I know something's not right. I've gone to a restaurant, for instance, and I've been able to just feel, I'm like, oh, that couple just got into an argument, or the waiter's having a tough time, or the family over there is celebrating something special. And so you begin to notice the energy, and it's a feeling that accompanies it. So one way you can develop and work on that clairsentient skill set is by going to a restaurant and just begin to feel what's the energy in the room. You'll begin to notice, is there joy? Is there sadness? Is there anxiety or tension? And we're just sensing the energy in the room. Another way you can do this is ask a friend for a picture of a loved one and look into their eyes and use that sensing, that sense of, oh, this person was happy, or this person was joyful, or this person was timid, or this person was an outgoing person. So the clairsentience, while it may have a physical trigger, such as a heart attack or a stroke, there's also the emotional element that is accompanied by it. Now, when we work with the spirit world, we can use our clairsentience also to figure out what is the emotion, the personality, the general philosophy of the person. And just like we did with that photograph exercise I suggested just now, we can begin to notice what's the personality of the spirit communicator. Were they helpful? Were they cheerful? Did they like life? Did they live a hard life? Did they enjoy people? Did they like to be alone? So we have all of these variants on the emotional aspect of the spirit communicator. And that's done through the clairsentience. So to wrap up, clairsentience can be a physical sensation, for instance, the heart attack, or a stroke, or a physical attribute that defines what's going on. It can also be an emotional aspect, that compass of yes or no, the energy that goes on in a room or a restaurant. Or there can be the emotional aspect of personality. Joy, love, happiness, sadness, melancholy. There's a multiple list of feelings. And as an added bonus, I'm going to put the pinwheel of emotions as a PDF to this lesson. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope it opens up your mind into experimenting and working to develop your clairsentience.